Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. In today's video we'll be completing Hitman 2's 7th mission, Golden Handshake, on Master difficulty with suit only, silent assassin fully intact, the entire HUD turned off with no cuts and no saves. The mission is quite simply to eliminate one target and obtain the secured data, and the video will be broken down into 2 stages. The first stage is the plan. This is where I'll be scoping out the level, finding paths and secret passageways, picking up intel and making lots and lots of mistakes. The second stage is the execution. This is where all HUD options will be turned off, and I'll carry out the plan that was designed in stage 1. As always, the loadout for the mission will be the original starting location, 47 signature suit, the ICA goalballer, the lockpick MK3 and 3 coins. Welcome to Supercuts, the series where we take an entire Let's Play and condense it into one video. My name is Mr. Supercut, and this is the planning stage of Hitman 2's Golden Handshake. As a preface, New York is one of my favourite maps in the entire Hitman trilogy, so going into it I was already very familiar. That being said, it had been a while since I played it last, evidenced by what you can see in run 1. As you saw, after shooting the camera and forgetting to close the door behind me, I had alerted everybody in the bank to my intentions in a record time of under 30 seconds, so hit restart. In run 2 I made sure to close the door behind me before shooting the camera. I flipped the fuse box and took out the investigating guard and dumped his body. I picked up a screwdriver off the shelf and then headed into the small guard room. I picked up a briefcase off the shelf and intended to launch it at the guard's head, however I launched the screwdriver instead, killing him. I dumped his body and then dropped a muffin into the vents to see if I could find where it came out below. I then headed through the nearby doors and up the stairs but couldn't find any way through, so I headed back down and attempted to enter through the glass doors, but unfortunately I was missing a keycard. I knocked out another security guard in plain view of everybody just to double check that he wasn't carrying a keycard, and after deducing that he wasn't, I shot a few more guards and then quickly headed over to the 2 guards dumped in the locker and stole one of their uniforms. I headed toward the main staircase, got spotted by a camera, and so made a mental note to make sure I found a surveillance system because there were tons of cameras all throughout the bank. Obviously, it was a bank. After heading down the stairs, I had a quick browse of all the locked boxes and couldn't find anything useful, and then found the entrance to the vault, also locked behind a keycard I didn't have. I headed north and up the staircase to find everybody still very much on high alert, so I headed back down until things had cooled off. I wandered into the IT department and shot the nerds playing video games instead of doing their jobs, and then broke into the server room, turned off the local network, breaking Savalas' laptop, then flipped the switch to the vault security, causing one of the guards to come and investigate. I followed him into the server room, and instead of choking him out, which is what I intended, I swear, I stabbed him with a screwdriver. That was twice in one run where I'd accidentally killed someone with the screwdriver, making me think that subconsciously they weren't accidents at all. I dumped the body and then dumped his weapon into a nearby vent, confused as to where it could possibly go considering I was on the bottom level of the map. I headed back into the server room, failing to spot the keycard the guard had dropped right there on the floor, and then headed to the vault door. Again, still no access because again, still no keycard. I found a money transport key lying next to a sleeping guard in one of the lockbox rooms, and then began opening all the lockboxes I could see to see if I could find anything useful. I knocked out some women because, you know, equal rights, and then knocked out and killed 2 men because, you know, equal rights. I stole one of their outfits and found that one of them was wearing a thong because, you know, equal rights. Eventually I was found out and killed, so hit restart. In run 3 I headed left and this time managed to knock out the 2 guards without killing either of them.
A great success!
I tried shooting the keypad to get through those glass doors, but it didn't work, and so left that area and headed across the bank to the other side. Obviously the guard wasn't letting me pass, so I hopped over the nearby banister and dropped down, finding myself in the location I'd been in before. I distracted the nearby guard, knocked him out and dumped his body, and then knocked out the janitor with her own wet floor sign, shot the nearby camera, picked up some rat poison from the nearby storeroom, picked up a tranquilizer gun that was just lying around just outside the server room, turned off the nerd's TV, knocked the nerd out, picked up his security keycard and dumped his body, then headed back up the stairs and across to the other side of the bank and found that I now had access through the glass doors. I destroyed the camera with a screwdriver, picked the lock to a nearby cabinet and found a bottle of chloroform for some reason, headed into the garage, dumped the chloroform into the ventilation system, followed the vents back to the security office, turned on the AC and knocked out like 60 guards in one go. I destroyed the surveillance system, picked up a deposit box master key, opened the nearby deposit box and found the vault keycard, used the vault keycard to unlock the open vault button, pressed the open vault button to open the vault, headed inside and deactivated the lasers, filled my pockets with tons of gold, pulled out the data core, securing the evidence required to complete the mission. I placed it in the garage as I knew that I would be able to escape this way somehow, and then headed back up the stairs, across to the other side, and then up another set of stairs. I distracted the janitor by switching off his radio, knocked him out and dumped the body, crept past the security guard, and then tried to figure out how to get past the fired banker and the security guard assigned to keep an eye on him. Once their backs were turned, I poisoned his drink, causing him to run off upstairs to find a place to spew, and then I lured the guard nearer to me with the toss of a coin, and then launched a muffin at his head. I hadn't realised until now, this point, that muffins didn't actually knock people out when you launched them, and so the guard, dazed and confused, stood back up. I then launched a ceramic egg at his head, so all was well. I headed up the staircase and veered left into the bathroom, finding a crowbar in the corner and the fired banker throwing up. I knocked him out and dumped his body, knowing he'd be heading back downstairs once he'd finished unloading his stomach. Another banker then entered the bathroom and headed straight for the lines of powdered sugar, so I knocked him out and dumped his body as too much sugar will rot your teeth. I climbed the stairs, veered left, entered through the secret passageway, taking me directly through a corridor and into Savalas' office space. I ducked behind a sofa as Savalas went next door and then knocked out a guard, which was immediately noticed by another. I launched a solid bar of gold at the guard's head and then dragged the first and dumped his body, and then the second. I then hid behind a small wall as Savalas walked past and then launched the gold bar at her bodyguard's head, as he for some reason didn't follow her. I dumped his body next door, picked up a sword, and then headed back to find Savalas leaning against the window, which triggered a memory for me. I snuck around and followed her, sliced her throat, dumped the body, and then when leaving, I got spotted by a guard heading up the stairs. I sped down without missing a beat, without hesitation, past all the guards into the main hallway, down the stairs and into the vault, and then into the garage, picked up the data core, and then found out I couldn't leave via the garage because I hadn't picked up the relevant key. I headed back up the stairs and managed to make a break for it, running straight for the main entrance, and walked off into the sunset, with several guards hot on my tail, of course. The mission was complete and it was now time to perfect it. In run 4, I headed to the right and got spotted by a camera, headed over the banister and down the stairs, blitzed past the guard and janitor, got spotted by another camera, headed into the server room and flipped the switches to the vault security, picked up a cheeseburger, slammed it into the back of the investigating guard's head, dumped his body, and this time fortunately managed to spot his keycard. I launched the screwdriver at the camera in the hallway and almost got spotted by the security guard and janitor, headed through the glass doors towards the vault, and then ducked down below the security room and crept across. As I destroyed the camera above me, I got spotted doing so, and so hit restart. In run 5, I headed left again for some reason, and after determining there was definitely nothing I could do, I headed across the bank to the other side, over the banister, down the stairs, knocked out the investigating guard, dumped his body, tossed the screwdriver at the camera, and then hid behind the wall, and to my amazement found that the security guard barely moved an inch toward me. Once he had turned his back, I headed through toward the vault, this time making sure to avoid being spotted, took out the camera, picked up the chloroform, poisoned the ventilation system, turned on the AC, destroyed the surveillance system, grabbed the vault keycard, opened the vault, headed to the garage to pick up a hammer, and then saved the game to see if one of these two guards was carrying the keys to the truck. After knocking them both out, I found that neither of them was carrying a set of keys, so carried on up the stairs and up some more stairs into a bathroom where the job applicant was throwing up, got spotted knocking him out, so hit reload. In run 6, I headed up the stairs past the guard and janitor, past the second guard and janitor, and then took out the guard and fired banker, creating a clear and easy path through. I dumped both bodies and then headed up the stairs, ducked past the security detail with no issues, up through the reception and into Savalas' office. This time I waited for Savalas to leave the area and her bodyguard didn't follow her and stood nearby, meaning I wasn't able to take out the other two guards. Savalas eventually came back, made a phone call, and then headed back through into the next rooms and left me and the two guards alone. I took them both out and dumped both their bodies, and then this time unscrewed the giant clock face behind Savalas' desk. I then fled the area, headed back down the stairs, through the small security office, down the next flight of stairs, almost running into the head of security, and then stopped to watch Savalas fall from the clock using my instinct. I snuck past the janitor and guard, continued all the way toward the vault, headed in, grabbed the data core, and again, as I had unfortunately not found the keys to the truck, I had to leave via the main exit. Everyone became immediately alerted and began taking me out, but I was able to exit the area and then hit restart. In run 7, I headed straight down the main staircase and got reprimanded for entering without being frisked, so hit restart. In run 8, I headed right, distracted the guard in the server room, and for the third time forgot I was holding a screwdriver, and instead of knocking him out, I stabbed him to death. I dumped his body, fled the area, and then realised I knew exactly where the key to the truck was, and I'd actually already found it in run 1. I headed across the corridor and over to the sleeping guard whose heavy bottom was crushing the keys. I wiggled them out from underneath him and then headed into the secured vault area before before changing my mind and heading up the stairs to see if I could take out Savalas first and then deal with the vault later on. As I was climbing the stairs, I got spotted by a camera and realised I'd need to sort out the surveillance system in the security office, meaning I would need to deal with the vault first. With that, I hit restart. In run 9, I made sure to deactivate the cameras and open the vault first before dealing with Savalas. I made my way to the top floor and got spotted running through the small security office, so hit restart. In run 10, I got spotted picking up the cheeseburger and soda by the nerds, so knocked them out, unplugged their game, and then unplugged my life. In run 11, in an effort to make sure I wasn't wasting any time and hanging around for no reason, I flipped the switch to the vault and then launched the screwdriver at the camera, ensuring that when I headed out later, the camera was already disabled and the security guard had already investigated it. I poisoned the security office, opened the vault, headed up the stairs, knocked out the guard and fired banker, through the small security office, up the stairs into the reception, through the secret passageway and into Savalas' office to find Savalas standing against the glass. I saved the game, and once she'd moved along, knocked out the 2 guards, dismantled the clock, and then retraced my steps, headed back to the vault, picked up the data core, and then left via the security truck, and then hit reload. In run 12, I wanted to see if I could leave Savalas' office quick enough to see her fall, and satisfyingly I made it just in time to watch Savalas run out of time. Or should I say, watch Savalas fall through time. I exited the mission again via the same route, and that was that. After 12 runs, it was time to turn all the HUD options off and attempt the mission for the final time. So, without further ado, I present to you my no HUD, suit only, silent assassin, master difficulty run of Golden Handshake.
Good luck, 47.
Hey, maintenance have a look at the deposit box room camera.
Broken one. Yeah, Perez brought someone down there himself. The man is really hands-on today. I've only seen him this proactive once before. You know when we had that.
Alright. This is doable. Got it.
Head of security suspects there may have been some tampering going on here.
Well, at least it's not as bad as that time in Queens. Remember that?
Oh, again, I'm really sorry, but Perez keeps coming down here.
This is the vault, 47. The data core should be behind that large steel door. Great work, 47. You now have access to the vault.
stay here.
Okay. Believe it. I hit every quota they threw at me. How could you do this? Not a lot to do.
Say, aren't you Ruby Red, the investigative reporter? I loved your expose on the much-talked data abuse. I mean, wow, Jason Portman must hate you. So, what are you working on now?
I'm sorry? I don't know what you're talking about. My name's Tina. Tina Smith. I work in insurance.
Right. Undercover, are we?
No, I'm just not who you think I am, sir. Now,
Good work, 47. That's the evidence secured for now. Careful not to lose it. If anyone sees you with that rack, my guess is you'll draw a lot of unwanted attention to yourself. That's the last objective completed. Exfiltrate the bank, 47. Miss Hall will want to have a close look at that data.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then do be sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date on all future episodes. I will catch you in the next video, ready to take on 47's final mission of Season 2 on the tiny tropical Haven Island.